over in my computer. All right. So questions, guys, on this. Questions. I'll answer your questions. It's here, it's on the board. I can do it. Yes.
I just got switched into this class today.
Okay, so then did I call you when the attendance? Did you hear your name? Okay. Did you see Schoology? Okay, so check it when you get a chance. But okay, so just pick up where we're at. Take notes. All right. Wait, my face is coming out here. Let me just share screen. You guys don't need to see my face. Here, Microsoft Whiteboard. Okay. Questions, guys?
Number 5 on section 1C.
Okay, 5, section 1C. So that we're talking about is it this guy? All right, so I'm going to that right here. Again, guys, do not be shy about asking questions. I'll try my best to be able to do the questions. And we'll check the answers, make sure we're right. All right, so some of these questions are challenging. Okay, so it says a line through a vertex of a triangle, which is perpendicular to the opposite side, is called an altitude. A line through a vertex of a triangle, which is perpendicular to the opposite side, is called an altitude. Do you guys remember how that looks from geometry? Just quickly, it looks something like this. So you have a triangle, and you have a vertex here. That's the altitude. You see that? That guy here, this line, will be the altitude. That's how an altitude looks. Okay? So if you don't know that, then it's tough on you, you know? All right. So I'll go ahead and erase that because, you know, obviously they're going to give us something that matters more. And of course, man, the world was a better place without cell phones. Oh man, I sent a Zoom link to my wife, bro. No wonder it didn't come up. All right. I don't even want to respond to her. Let her call. All right, it doesn't matter. All right, so it says here, find the equation of the altitude through the vertex A of the triangle ABC. So find the equation of the altitude through the vertex A of triangle ABC, where A is the 0.23, B is 1, -7, and C is 4, -1. So if you can imagine this, then you don't have to worry. But I would recommend that you draw it out first. All right. So let's see, 2, 3, 1, -7, and 4, -1. Okay, it's all over the place. Okay, so let me get my little ruler here. Make my little straight lines here. Like magic, look at this. By the way, do any of your teachers use this technology like I'm using it? So they're not cool, are they? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is gonna be A. Let me make it bigger. Let me make that A bigger. A. Then 1, -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm extending that line with the ruler. So here, 1, -7. I'll go ahead and also make, you know, write the coordinates in. It's a good idea to write as much information that it doesn't get in the way. So look, this is what I'm saying. When I'm looking at your paper and I don't see you graph anything or something like that, I'm like, yo, you know, come on. Like I would graph it. So give yourself space to work on. Work on. And then 4, -1. So this one is B. And then we have 4, -1. For -1. And so this is C. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and do my triangle. I'm gonna try to do it with a ruler. Let me see. And look at that. Straight line. Look at that. Straight line. Look at that. Another straight line. Now, of course, they couldn't give us a triangle, which is cool. They gave us like a sucky triangle. You know, that this angle here is obtuse, you know, it's more than 90. And so where is the altitude? Well, the altitude will be outside of the triangle. Right? If we're drawing the altitude through the vertex A, then what happens is, see, the way I did the drawing for you here initially, I went like this. I'm like, hey, look, you know, here's the altitude. You know, that's it. This guy's the altitude. But when you have a triangle like that, the altitude is on the outside, bro. Okay, that's how it is. So let me go ahead and kind of zoom in here. And I guess I can use, I'm gonna start, let me see what color I want to use. I'm gonna use rainbow for the altitude. But let me extend, though, the triangle here slightly, the line of AC, like so. I do. This is gonna be tough to do. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it with a ruler anymore. So this here, imagine you extended this line like this. I gotta get a new point. This guy here is the altitude. This is the altitude. Let me change the thickness of that line. It's too thick. So altitude. I got a new point for this, right? Now, we want an equation for that altitude. So we have the following information now. We know that the altitude has a point. The point of the altitude is 2, 3. But we need to have a slope or a gradient. How can we figure out that slope? Now, yes, go. Yes, correct. So what we have here, Xavier, did you do your homework? Well, no credit. Now, so that means you're going to find the slope of AC. Can you do it? We have 2 points, don't we? And then you're going to take the negative reciprocal of that, and that would be the slope of my altitude, would it not be? And now, would you have sufficient information to write a formula for your altitude? And you did the problem. Let me do that, and then I'll ask questions. Now, those of you who are like, who can't follow along with this, then you need to go home and you need to like rewrite this problem and see if it's starting to get to you. Because if you know the slope of AC, can you find the slope of AC? How would you find the slope of AC? Well, yes, you do. So here, BC. The slope of BC, or the gradient, like, is going to be using the formula y is of 2 minus y is of 1 over x of 2 minus x of 1. So you're going to do what? -1 minus -7 divided by 4 minus 1. So that's going to be -1 plus 7. That's 6 divided by 3, which is 2. And now you know, as a consequence, if the slope of BC is 2, positive 2, then the slope of my altitude must equal -1 over 2. And now you can use point slope form, right? You have all the information there. Y minus 3 equals -½ times x minus 2. y minus 3 equals negative half x plus 1. So y equals negative half x plus 4. And you wrote it in slope-intercept form there. And that should be your answer. So it's a puzzle. I should zoom that in a little bit more for you so you could see. Guys, please, since I didn't do the zoom here, you're just not seeing what I'm seeing here. So for me, it looks humongous, but for you, it looks small. So you gotta tell me, hey, zoom in. Don't be shy if you coming up and moving it yourself. Does that make sense? So what you're doing again, you're taking what you're seeing there, what you're seeing visually, right? That you've deciphered from the words, and then you're taking everything that we've got and put it together like a puzzle, and then you find your answer. Does that make sense? Questions? No questions? All right, good. All right, well, I saw many other questions not done in your homework assignment. Don't be shy, ask. The next one. Okay. All right, so this one's gonna take me a while because it has 3 parts to it. I gave it to you, I guess I'll try my best. All right. All right, so we have 3 points there. It says it forms a triangle. So let's begin. And then it says find equations of the altitudes, equations 5 from from questions 5 through I, R, and IQ. I don't know. I don't understand that. Whatever. I don't know. I had to look at the rest. And it says also find the points of the intersection of these altitudes. And it says show that the altitude through P also passes through this point. Show that the altitude through P also passes through this point. I don't know. Whatever. I'll figure it out. Okay, so let's begin first by those of you who didn't do it, that you at least plot the triangle. Because if you didn't do it, at the very least, you just plot your triangle. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna plot my triangle. So I'm gonna do this in purple. And I'm pretty sure that that's not sufficiently a long line. Let me make a bigger one. Or I can just compress it more. All right, I'll just make a bigger line. So here we go. Wait, almost there. Do I have any big negatives here? Yeah, -7. So 12, 5. Okay, so it's really positive, but it's not that negative. Okay. And the highest is just 5. Okay, whatever. There we go. Whatever. Maybe it's not too good. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 2, 5. And I'll do this and I'll do the points in red. 2, 5. 2, 5. And this is point P. And we have 12, 5. So that's going to be over here. That's going to be Q. And then you have 8, -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's there. Let me make sure I didn't get this aligned. We have R. And let's go ahead and connect these lines here. I'll connect it with color black. Connect this other one. Connect this other one. Now, it feels like this should be an isosceles, but I'm not sure. Might be, might not be. I don't know. Let me see if that 8 is correctly put. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, but my lines are not the best. I think I have graph paper on here. I could have done it, but. All right, so it says here, find equations of the altitudes through R and Q. So the first thing I'm going to do, through R and Q. So that means there's an altitude here. That's one altitude. And there's an altitude here. Okay? Those are the two altitudes. So now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second. The recording. How do I pause the recording? I'm going to just... So let's say we do Q. Q first. Let's go ahead and figure out the slope to PR. So we'll figure out this slope or this gradient first. So the slope there is -7 minus 5 divided by 8 minus 2, which is -12 divided by 6. At least they're giving us nice numbers. This is going to be what? -2. Is that what you guys got? So what would be the slope of this altitude there? What is that slope? It would be just +1/2. Therefore, the equation to that, the equation to the altitude, let's call it, I don't know, altitude Q. So the equation, let me just not be sloppy. The equation of altitude Q is going to be y minus 5 equals half times x minus 12. So y minus 5 equals half times x. I'll go ahead and distribute. Half x minus 6. So it's y equals half x minus 1. And remember, we're used, what's this form here called? Point, slope. And what is this called? Slope, intercept. So now you have the equation of the altitude for Q. The next one is the equation for altitude R. Now, you can clearly see that if you did the slope for this guy here, the slope is 0 because it's a horizontal line. If you did 5 minus 5, it's 0. 12 minus 2 is 10. 0 divided by 10, 0. So what is the perpendicular slope to that? Well, there's no perpendicular slope. It's undefined. A vertical line, which will be what would be perpendicular to a horizontal line, is undefined. Okay? So the equation to that must be x equals something. X equals something. A vertical line, the formula for a vertical line is always x equals something. Some number. In this case, it's just x equals to 8. All right, I'll go ahead and write it in black. So now you've solved part A. Part A is solved. So this is part A. Remember, the equation to vertical lines. I'll write it over here as a note. Equations of vertical lines are always x equals some constant. Equations of horizontal lines is y equals to some constant. The slope of horizontal lines is 0. The slope of vertical lines are undefined. So let's go ahead and do part B. It says here, to find the intersection of these altitudes. Now the intersection is clearly right there. So we have two equations. Our system of equations right now, of linear equations, is y equals to half x minus 1 and x equals to 8. Well, they gave us, it's easy. We don't have to rearrange anything. We have our substitution. What is our substitution? X equals to 8. So you just go ahead and put this guy right in there. So y equals half times 8 minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, which is 3. So we have 8 comma 3. And therefore, this guy right here is 8 comma 3. That's our intersection. Questions? Now it says here, part C, show that the altitude through P also passes through this point. So now they're making you do the altitude for P. And then now you go ahead and substitute 8 in that equation that you find. And it has to be also 8 comma 3. Like you have to get a 3. And then therefore you're showing that the altitude to P also passes through that point. So I'm thinking this is an isosceles triangle. Maybe. I don't know. We can show it if we wanted to. Couldn't we? All right. So, yeah. So, all right. Let's do the equation for P. Do I need to do that? How many of you want me to do that or you're good? What's the slope? It's quick. It's quick. But I don't want to do it. All right. So here's M. So what's the slope? What's the slope to QR? Well, that's okay. So it's 5 minus -7 divided by 12 minus 8. That comes out to be, and it's getting kind of sloppy here. I'm sorry about that. 5 minus -7, 12 over 4 comes out to what? 3. So therefore, the slope that's perpendicular to that is what? So that means that this slope right here is going to have to be, it's getting kind of busy here. All right, watch what I'm gonna do, guys. Check this out. Oh, I did it right. All right. Wait, something's wrong with my thing here. There we go. It went away. Oh, look what it did. The slope of that is going to be -1/3. Right. So now that I can answer, and what's the point for P? What's the point for P? So P is 2 comma 5. So that's true. Then we have the following. We have the following. Y minus 5 equals to -1/3 times x minus 2. So that's y minus 5 equals -1/3 x plus 3/2. I don't like that number. But it is what it is. Let's see what happens. And so now you have to go y equals -1/3 x plus 3/2 plus 5. So what is 3/2 plus 5? Because that looks ugly. right?
Good morning, all gladiators. Sophomores with the last names A through M, please report to the auditorium. Teachers, make sure they bring their belongings. Once again, sophomores with the last names A through M, please report
Boom.
to the auditorium.
Nobody said that.
Teachers.
Sorry.
bring
It's
their belongings.
2/3. For some reason, I wrote 3/2. It's 2/3. Sorry. Okay, so that's the part I want to discuss. How do you convert 2/3 plus 5 to 17/3? One way is your calculator. But how do you do it? Yeah. So what you want to do is, so if you have your calculator, if you're using the castle calculator and you put it in there, I think it gives it to you as a fraction, right? But if you don't have that calculator, and I'll just make a little bubble here, and you go like this, 2/3 plus 5/1, essentially. You go like this. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3. Comes out to 17/3. We call that crisscross happy face. Take care. So that's y equals to negative 1/3 x plus 17/3. Now, if we substitute 8 into x, we have to get 3. Is that what we get? So y equals negative 1/3 times 8 plus 17/3. So y equals negative 8/3 plus 17/3. What's 17 minus 8? 9. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. So have we shown that this altitude also intersects the other altitudes at P? The answer is yes, we have. We have clearly shown it. Because if we would have gotten any other number besides 3, then it wouldn't have intersected. They all intersect at the same point, P, 8, 3. Make sense? Okay. Those I think was that section. Oh, that was just section C, because there are harder ones there. Those were the difficult ones. The miscellaneous, you got them? Okay, so okay. All right. Any other questions, wonderful people? Now, if you didn't do your homework, I would recommend that you just leave the class. Just go somewhere else. You're gonna have a bad year. This is the first assignment. You didn't do it. You have other priorities. Just take another class. All right. Any other questions? Number 16 of miscellaneous. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and shift this a little bit to the side because I don't want to delete that from my notes. So it's not in the way. So I'm gonna come here, go here. But the vast majority of the class did do the homework, which is good. Hopefully it keeps that way. All right, so this here, I mean, it's just a multifaceted question. This is the question that really matters from the homework. It says here, the curve y equals 1 plus 1/2 plus x crosses the x-axis at point A and the y-axis at point B. Calculating the coordinates of A and B. Find the equation of line AB. Okay, fine. Calculate the coordinates of the point of the intersection of line AB and the line with equation 3y equals 4x. Okay. So let's begin. The first thing I would recommend is just to write down the information you have, which in this case is just this, right? Now, what do you mean when something crosses the x-axis? When it crosses the x-axis, what is that called when we cross the x-axis? The x-intercept. And when we cross the when we cross the x-axis, it's called the x-intercept. What is the value of y at that point? Y equals to 0. So the way we're going to find that point A is we're going to set the value of y to 0 and then solve for x. So we're going to have 0 equals 1 plus 1 over 2 plus x. That's one side. Now, when we cross the y-axis, we call that what? Y-intercept. And what is the value of x at that point? And so therefore, in this case, you would rewrite this, and now you want to solve this. Right? So that's it. You're going to be able to find it because you know the values of the y. So all you're doing now is finding the value of the x or the y, depending on which one you're doing. And you're going to have a and b. Right? So here, for instance, like right here, you have, what's the first step you would do to solve this here? Okay, here's what I would do. I would subtract the 1. I mean, there's a few ways to do it, but I would subtract the 1. Yes, that's the easiest thing to do. Don't complicate your life. And I actually would write it like this. I would go 1 over 2 plus x equals to negative 1. I wouldn't even write it like, I would do that just because it's easier, just the way we were trained. And what you would do next? Yeah, you multiply 2 plus x to the negative 1, right? And then you have negative 1 times 2 plus x. And then what you would do? Distribute, right? This is not something I should go over, really. The solving of that, right? And then, I mean, I would just make the x positive and then just, right? Like that, right? Is that correct? Oh, you can't see it. I would do that. Make sense? That's what I would do. So that means that your x-intercept, which is a, is negative 3 comma 0. And now we need to find b, right? And so b, we're going to try to find it right now. On this side, we just have y equals to 1 plus 1 over half, right? 2 plus 0 is 2. And so this just becomes 3 halves. So b is going to be 0 comma 3 halves. And now you've done part A. You solved the first part that they wanted you to solve, which was to calculate the coordinates of A and B. Now that you have 2 points, could you find a line, an equation for the line? Yes. And then after that, you would calculate the coordinates of the point of intersections of line A, B, and the line with the equation 3y equals to 4x. I mean, I have lost interest in this question. I'm gonna go ahead and do it because you should be able to now kind of like finish this question. I'll do it because I want to provide you some examples, but it's not interesting anymore. I mean, it wasn't interesting. Okay. I guess the key here was, did you know what an x-intercept was and what a y-intercept was? If you know that, then the rest is just, let's do it. We cannot be discussing here trivial matters of how to solve an equation. We're trying to problem solve here. Put pieces of the puzzle together. Yes, you might be rough on your skills, and that's why it's good to work on them. Okay, but you should be able to get pretty quick to get on board. All right, so the next thing is find equation of the line. I mean, find equation of the line. This will be part B. So we're going to find the equation of the line. We're gonna have A is -3 comma 0. We have B is 0 comma 3/2. So we need a slope, don't we? So let's find the slope. Slope is going to be 3/2 minus 0 over 0 minus -3. So it's 3/2 over 3. Well, what's 3/2 divided by 3? So we have 3/2 divided by 3, which is really 3/2 times 1/3, which is 3/6, which is 1/2. Right? I went through all that trouble just to remind you that when you have something that looks like that, 3/2 divided by 3, your division is really multiplication by reciprocal. Remember that. And so now you just pick a point. I like the point that has that doesn't have a fraction. That's the point I like. So I got my slope and I got 2 points to pick from. I'll use that guy. I like that guy better. All right. And so I have y minus 0 equals half times x minus -3. Notice how I had to write minus -3. And you could use either one. Okay? Either point could be used. And you get the same answer. So y minus 0 equals half times x plus 3. So y, I'm not going to write minus 0 anymore. For what? Equals half x plus 3/2. And you're done. That is the equation. That is the equation. Is this the third day of class? Let me think. Then we have like 87 more classes to go or something like that. All right. Now, the next part of the question, I'll scroll up here just to remind you, is they want us to see the point of intersection of the line you just made, AB, and the line of the equation of 3y equals to 4x. So it's going to be this with 3y equals 4x. Is that what it said? So I'll go ahead and just make a line here. So 3y equals 4x, is that what it said? I can't remember. And we have y equals to half x plus 3/2. And you got to find the intersection between them. So this is your system of linear equations. So take your pick, however you want to do it. Look, we have a substitution right here. So just put it in there. If you want to do elimination, it's up to you. I would just use substitution. Why? Because what's my y? My y equals to half x plus 3/2. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put this there. Well, what's that? That's 3 times half x plus 3/2 equals to 4x. And we'll solve that. Right? So let's go ahead and do that. That's 3/2 x plus 9/2 equals 4x. So up to you how you want to proceed with that. I'll go ahead and subtract the 3/2. 9/2 equals 4x minus 3/2 x. What does that come out to? So it's 5 divided by 2x. And then what do you do to solve that? And you can't see what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, you multiply the reciprocal, right? By the reciprocal. So I'll just go ahead and just refresh you, right? So x equals to what? 18 over 10, which reduces to 9 divided by 5. So now you found the x value. You got to go ahead and find your y value. I saw a lot of people answer this under, like a lot of you did. Some people did this question. Well, at least you copied the answer from the back. I don't know. So then we put x into, you could take this x and you can put it in here. You can put it in here. They should both get the same answer. So those of you who are paranoid about this, you just test it in both. They have to give you the same answer. If they don't, then you did something wrong. So 3y. You know what? I'm gonna put it in this one because in that one I have to solve. So I'll just do it in this one. Y equals to 1/2 times 9/5 plus 3/2. That's not pretty. Y equals to 9 over 10 plus 3 over 2. So y equals to 18 plus 30 divided by 20. So y equals to 48 divided by 20. What's 48 divided by 20 reduced? Yes, because 4 goes into 48 12 times. And 4 goes into 20. Yeah. So therefore, your point of intersection is going to be 9/5, 12/5. Make sense? Okay. All right, so I think I'm done with this. I know maybe you guys have a question for number 17. I ask you to try it on your own. If you still have a question on number 17 next class, I will do it at the beginning of class. But it's on you to remind me. All right? So let me go ahead and just go ahead and not mess this recording. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and stop.